Alright, what's up, guys? As you've all seen and all have heard, the C8 Corvette has finally been released. We're here to talk about it today. Our first impressions of the car. To start with, we don't hate the car, but we don't exactly love it. Garrett, what do you have to say?
It's not very Corvette-like.
Yeah, it's not. The Corvette is America's sports car, not America's supercar. Ford did that with the GT. And the American sports car, the Corvette, shit stomped that on the track with a front engine and leaf springs.
Transverse leaf springs.
Yeah, transverse.
Not wagon springs per se.
Still, not, fancy coilover bullshit that's going on now. I'm not saying that coilovers aren't better. It's just the principle is still had, old technology. So let's look at the car here. I got some pictures brought up, and I'll flash some pictures on the screen so everybody else can see what we're looking at. The exterior of the car, it's not terrible. It's not a bad looking car. From the back, don't exactly love the wing they put on it. I think a lip spoiler would have been a little bit better looking, and I don't like the square exhaust tips. And taillights kind of look like the Camaro and the C7 Corvette, so, whatever.
Should have round taillights.
Yeah, he's still on the he's still on the tradition of the round taillights. I think the C7 should have had round taillights.
Damn it needs round taillights.
Garrett here, he hates the C7. The look of it.
I don't know if I'd say I hate it, but I'm not a big fan of it.
His quote was, "It looks like an overdone '80s computer graphic."
Yeah, it looks like an '80s computer graphic. If you look back at if you play older video games or like this, instead of being able to make a perfectly rounded shape, you'll see lines, because it's just
pixelated.
Yeah, it's pixelated basically. So that's what it looks like. Like you look across the car, how it's like the one body line ends and it's got a little bit of a point, and then to the next one a little point. Not a fan. I love C6. So.
Then we got what's your next bulletin point there that you wanted to bring up? You good?
Well, we'll just get started, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get started. Here.
Well, what's our biggest beef with this car? Well, at least yeah, I'd have to say my biggest beef. Start with why is it mid-engine? Is it really necessary? They said that they couldn't do any more with the front engine design. And I just think that's it's kind of bullshit because, let's face it, over the years, I'm sure that it's happened numerous times where someone said, we can't do nothing more with this, and then later on somebody does something better with it. Example.
The push rod motor.
Yeah, you ever heard of a mod motor? Somebody at Ford was like, hey, you know what? These push rods are done. We got to go to overhead cam. And we all see how that worked out for them. And what's that new engine they're building? That 7.3?
Gas push rod engine. Kind of looks like an LS motor, but bigger, a lot bigger.
So, I just don't know if I buy that whole thing.
Yeah, my thing with it being mid-engine is Zora. I'm not even going to try to say the dude's last name. He wanted a mid-engine car back in when it was like the late 50s, early 60s, and he worked on the Serb, as they were called, 1, 2, and 3, which were mid-engine cars, and he helped develop the Corvette into what it is, a sports car. To me, to pay homage to the guy that made the Corvette into the badass that it is, they should have, named, it should have been a special edition Corvette, the Corvette Zora, and it could have been its own thing while still selling a front-engine car. And the front-engine car, they could have both been good, and I don't think they would have competed with each other. Because the people who want to buy an exotic-looking supercar are going to go buy one of those, overpriced POS supercars, McLaren, Ferrari, Lambo, you name it. And the people who want a, front-engine, ass-kicking machine are going to go buy that. So I don't really think they would have competed with each other, per se. So, that's my thing with it. And then, with a front engine car, mid-engine car, when you're driving it, there's no weight on the front wheels. So when you're trying to drive it into a corner hard, it's going to want to push front tires. Gran Turismo has taught us that very well. We have spent a lot of time playing Gran Turismo.
Look, we're professional race car drivers. This is proof.
Yeah. We can get down in Gran Turismo. And whenever, like, when the GTR came out, I was like, fine, I'll get a GTR Gran Turismo. Everybody says they're great, wonderful. A four-wheel drive says whatever. I was like, man, this thing handles like crap. I did not like the way it handled. And the same thing with the mid-engine cars. It seemed that they're always kind of twitchy. And
Okay, yeah. Well, it's a video game too, so my only
it's a fairly realistic video game,
well,
though.
my only actual real experience with any sort of mid-engine car, and it pushes the front wheels pretty bad, but you know, it's not exactly a high-end piece either.
The old 1980, what is 85?
Mm-hmm.
The old 1985 Pontiac Fiero. She makes a whopping 94 horsepower.
It's 92.
92 horsepower.
With the air intake system and exhaust, it's probably pushing 94. Pretty serious.
So, yeah. Well, what GM did is they essentially rebooted the Fiero with this new car. Well, now we'll have to get a body kit for it, make it look like a Ferrari from 300 yards away.
No, people are saying they're going to make a body kit so you can make your Fiero look like a 2020 C8.
Ooh, now there's now we're thinking.
So
now we're thinking. What's the next bulletin point you got up there?
Well, we kind of already talked about how it's got coilovers.
Yeah.
They did away with the leaf springs. That's just something though that doesn't make sense. Is they claim they couldn't make this car any better. Well, if the coilovers are better, they could. That's one thing they could have done to make the other one better. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like they could have figured out how to make it better. The weight distribution was already 49-51.
It was already basically 50-50. With the C7, I remember them saying with a full tank of gas, it actually had a rear weight
I think it was like
bias.
49-51. To me, that's where I'd want to be.
It was pretty close.
I'm just a poor white boy, and I don't know.
And I think they could have slapped coilovers on what they got and made it that much better.
Yeah, let's face it, the aftermarket's probably is already doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're saying they couldn't make the C7 or a C7 chassis better, essentially, but I'm sure the aftermarket's doing it every day. So
yeah, aftermarket's pretty good at making things better than OEMs.
I don't know. I think it was just they finally decided that they wanted to be a wannabe Ferrari deal, and it was a cop out kind of to me.
Yeah, so. I don't necessarily think it was the lazy way out, but. And what I get annoyed too is they spent all that time and money on the ZR1, and it's only going to be a 1-year car. What was the point of that? Like, you know, spent all that time and effort and development over at the Nürburgring and ZTK package and time in the wind tunnel and all that, and they just make it for 1 year. Like, come on. What's the next bulletin point? I'm blind. I can't see that.
Well, we already discussed the possibility it could push the front end, so we'll find out. It's got a push rod engine in it, so we're happy about that. That's like about the only thing that remains that's making this the old GM ass kicking machine of old.
Mm-hmm.
And
they said it best too. If they put anything else in it, it wouldn't have that small block sound.
Yeah.
However,
everywhere on the internet claims that a overhead cam motor's coming, and it's going to be the death of it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, let's not forget they tried that in 1994 with the original ZR1, and what was that?
I think they came out in 91 there, bud.
91?
Like they ran from 91 to 95 or whatever.
Oh, whatever. Early to mid-90s, the ZR1 came out.
The ZR1, that was the wider car.
Yeah, we're F-body guys. We're not. It could come out and... Well, it's going to cost a little bit more, but the only people are going to be buying these are people that got the money to pay to play anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's the performance for the money's good. Don't get me wrong.
Speaking of performance for money, when the C7 came out, they tested it on the old Top Gear next to a Porsche Cayman, and it freaking shit stomped that Porsche. Had 100 more horsepower, 100 more foot-pounds of torque. It was like a second and a half faster around the track. Cost a lot less money than the Cayman. Just throw that out there. Front engine.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, you're going to have to get a 911 to hang with a vet. It's been like that for years.
And you're going to spend, big money on a 911. And it's not going to sound as cool.
No. Alright, well, we already talked about the looks of the car. I mean, I don't think it's a bad looking car.
Yeah, there's little things I might do a little different if I was.
I was concerned that it was going to be like most of the other new stuff they have, where I would have looked at it and just about threw up. But
yeah,
really,
like the Blazer.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted a 2-door Tahoe, and they gave us a minivan.
Yeah.
Or the new trucks. They're not making the Cruises anymore. I wonder why. GM hasn't figured out that they're fucking ugly. Or what else looks absolutely hideous? All the newest body style Malibu. Ugh. I mean, we could just keep going on and on. Yeah, the 6th gen Camaro. I like the refresh on it more than I did the when it first came out. Now they moved the bow tie up in the grill instead of in the middle of the bumper. I was like, you know what, that ain't that bad looking. Too bad you can't see a damn thing out of it.
All the shenanigans that have been going on with the stuff from Mexico and the pissing out people in Canada and building cars in China. And
yeah, when we were going up to pick up those LS9 blocks, you see that? He was driving my Malibu. He's like, you see that bear? You want me to run her down? Fuck yeah, I do.
we were
going down.
We were close to the Milford Proving Grounds.
Yeah, we were going down General Motors Boulevard or whatever. Where's she at? We're running her down.
Yeah, we need to have a chat with her.
Yeah.
Get her design.
All electric by 2025. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Whatever. You know, GM is really fucking up lately. Next bulletin.
Fuck it up, bud. Alright. So that's, well, we talked about the look of the car. Outside. Let's talk about the interior.
Oh,
what do you think about the interior?
That interior. We gotta talk about the elephant in the room, the steering wheel.
When you said wheel, wheels means that it's round.
My apologies.
You mean the steering square.
The steering square. The only thing I've seen a steering square in is like the LaFerrari or the Enzo. I think it was either the Enzo or the LaFerrari. Either way. Ferrari, we were talking about this when we were going to Arby's earlier, but they must have ran out of names to name their cars because, well, we're just going to call them the Ferrari.
The Italian guy sitting in a room.
Yeah.
Other guy walks in and he says, "What are you guys going to call that one?" "Oh, which one?" "The Ferrari over there." "La Ferrari?"
But anyways, though, the steering square. What the hell? Like, how would you do the old, technique when you're going around a corner? You're gonna be like, or one of these.
And then when you let your hand just slip over the wheel.
Yeah, have you ever seen that episode of Mythbusters where they tried to square wheels?
Your head while you're turning the this coming back.
Yeah, let's just pull up a picture here. We'll take a look at wheel references.
They cut the bottom off, which is kind of common for leg clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they squared the top off for
better
the cluster, the gauges, whatever.
But it's not the cluster. It's like probably like a 6x9 screen or something.
Yeah, it's got a screen. It's got a screen too.
We'll flash a picture up too, but like the steering, and then the steering wheel just like, oh my god, it's just like it's like they tried too hard. Like were they sitting in a room smoking a joint? Like, we're gonna try something different. And then it's a square, so you could see when the wheel is pointed in the straight direction. Like, you can't mess it up because it's a square. So what did they do? They put a stripe on top of it, so you can see where the stripe.
Race car.
Yeah, hashtag race car. And then they put the screen to face the driver.
Yeah, they turned it.
Yeah,
I think this C7 might be turned a little bit. It's got
that,
but on the side.
If the passenger has the auxiliary cable there and they're trying to switch this on or whatever, they're gonna have a bad time doing it because they're gonna be like this, like trying to look over it. And
it's a driver's car, street passenger.
It's like they tried to make the interior look like a spaceship.
There's something missing too.
Yeah, and then they added this like. In the C7, they had like the thing to hold on to going around a corner. They tried to do that. Oh, I know what's missing, a cup holder.
It's probably there. You can pop that open now, a cup holder. But that's not the point. There's something else missing. Shifter.
Oh yeah, a shifter. Oh, and a third pedal.
Oh yeah, just any shifter though.
Yeah.
There's no shifter whatsoever.
Yeah, I guess this push button jobby, that's going to be expensive when it breaks.
Let me tell you what. Let me show you how I shift this bad mamma jamma. Click. Oh yeah.
This is almost as stupid as the Dodge truck knob on the dash. Well, let me stick that in drive. Let me turn the radio down. Oh no! Yeah, just what the fuck. And then I don't know. I don't like this armrest thing. That separates the passenger from the driver's side.
All the buttons down it.
Those are buttons.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of buttons there.
Man, hopefully you don't have a little kid with you.
It's Corvette. Why'd you have a little kid with you?
You know, never know. Take a kid out for a spirited drive. Or I feel like you're gonna have you get one of these. Go pick yourself up a lady. Ooh, what's this button do? Don't do that.
Be alright. It's not a self-destruct button.
Yeah, it'd be cool if one of these was like an ejection seat button. It's a Target top. They could make that work. The top still comes off the car. I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, they kind of figured it out with the C7 though. How they figured out that they could all. Yeah. They made the chassis stiff enough so the roof was not integral or necessary, or whatever. You could remove it. You wouldn't.
Yeah, my buddy Brad. That's his biggest deal breaker. He wants a Grand Sport C6. He's always talked about. But he wouldn't want a Z06 or a ZR1 because it's not a Target tap. I want a Grand Sport C7. That's about as far as I'd go. But we'll flash up some interior pictures and you can just take a gander for yourself.
If they didn't have any awful interior colors like they did with the C7, we can have bright red seats.
Yeah.
Or random light blue.
Yeah, I just
quite understand some of them combos you can get on those cars. So
yeah, some of this just I don't know. Keep it simple, stupid. You know, and that's the thing with the C6. Yeah. Everybody bitched about how terrible the C6 interior was.
It's not even the C6 was going on before that. Like it's gone on forever that people bitch the Corvette interior is not nice enough, and they bitched about all GM interiors, and I don't quite understand because.
They're not, when you get out of the 90s, they're not rattle traps.
Yeah,
90s was just a bad time. I mean, the trucks look good, but the interiors in the trucks from the 90s, they were garbage. But, it was the 90s. That's what you got. That's what you had everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So, when the C7 came out, they upped the ante with the interior.
They made it a nice place to be.
They made it nicer, which, I had no problem with the C6 interior, but once again, I'm just trailer trash, so what do I know?
There's a fly over here. It's driving me nuts.
Okay. I'm gonna edit that out so it looks like a douchebag.
Nah, we're gonna leave that in there.
Okay. So, yeah, the interior it's pretty bad.
Yeah, my biggest beef with it is there's no shifter and there's no steering wheel. We got a steering square.
But there's more room in it supposedly because of the mid-engine deal.
That worked out for Cletus, he can't fit in his C7. He had to get that fancy seat and the clear top so he could fit in the car.
That's one thing that the Fiero's got going for it, man. There's all kinds of legroom in a Fiero. Everybody's like, how can anybody fit in that little car? There's all kinds of legroom in them damn things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we still need to V8 swap yours.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. And you can fit 2 golf bags in the car. Wow. This thing.
Can you fit 2 golf bags and your Target top in there though? Probably not.
Yeah. I want to know how these old farts are going to be able to lift their golf bags high enough to get it in there without scratching it all up.
I don't know.
That's to be determined. Do we have any more bulletins?
Yeah.
All right.
Of course we do. Let's get down to it. They're trying to make this sound like it's so special that it's such a that it's a mass-produced mid-engine car from Chevy and blah blah blah.
They already did that. It's called the Fiero.
Yeah, they already did that. We've kind of forgot about the old Fiero.
Yeah.
Why did they kill the Fiero? Well, sales were kind of going downhill, but they finally in '88 they finally made a better handling car. Got its own suspension, which it should have got from the beginning. But either way, one of the main things was it competed with Corvette sales. Yeah. If you know anything about the history of all the other GM companies, and when they start taking away from Chevy's sales or Corvette sales, that's a big problem.
Look at the 4th Gen F body as a prime example of it. I mean, the 4th Gen F body it could have been that much better, but they didn't want it to compete with the Corvette.
Oh yeah. Well, they got rid of it because the sales were terrible, which is because, the car was how old and they hadn't, actually redesigned it.
Yeah.
It was stale. Classic GM issues there. They used to be pretty bad about that. But yeah, so let's just say the Fiero lived on past 88. Where would it be today? Obviously, there's no Pontiac, blah blah blah, whatever.
Let's say, where would it be at in 2009?
Yeah, let's see. Where would it be at? Where would it be?
It would probably be an LS powered machine, or it would be an LS powered machine. It would have been mid-engine.
Well, of course it would have been. It wouldn't have been a Fiero. You know what's not a mid-engine car?
Corvette. And the suspension and everything of the car would have progressed, and it would, in the early mid 2000s, it would probably be what the C8 is today. The interior probably wouldn't have a steering square in it.
I don't know if they ever would have made them as exotic or as fancy or as high end, but whatever. It'd been getting there. It would have been much more like it.
Yeah, it would have been. If it would have evolved, it would have been a much better car. You know what? It would probably still had a manual transmission in it.
I mean,
it probably would have had coilovers in it.
At least you can say, hey, that's a mid-engine car. It's always been a mid-engine car.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they took
a front-engine car.
They took this car that every mullet-wearing, red-blooded American looked up to. Say, damn it, I want one of those. And it's going to be loud and it's going to kick ass. And they just tried to Europeanize it. And it just lost its appeal to some people. Like me.
Yeah, the only way I would buy one is if my YouTube career really took off and I just had a bunch of FU money. I was like, why not? And would it be a new one? Hell no.
Yeah, probably
go find one on the used market.
I'm sure it's fast. It probably has to handle good. It's probably fun to drive, but
is it really?
I don't really want to look at it in my driveway.
But would it really be as fun to drive as a C6 Z06 and naturally aspirated with 4.7 with a manual, or a ZR1, a C6 ZR1, or let's even say a C7 Z06 ZR1, with manuals in them. Or just regular automatics for all that matter, because a regular automatic, just take that thing to the drag strip and a nice torque converter in there and let her eat. So,
yeah, well, on that note, that's one of the things, they went mid-engine, so of course they're going to say that, well, all the weight's back there now, it's going to hook up better. But the, C6, C7s kind of were known for hooking up pretty good for what they were, without really much work done, So
there's plenty of people that have broken plenty of stock differentials and stock axles.
Yeah,
they were.
So the suspension and everything worked for that to make it hook up without having all the weight back there. So.
And wasn't the automatic Z06, the C7 Z06, wasn't that like 2.7 seconds 0 to 62?
I don't know. They said
I believe it was. It was under, because that was one of the big deals.
They said supposedly the only thing faster than the C8 was a new ZR, or the C7 ZR1. That's what they claimed. I don't know.
Well, I would hope so with 755 horsepower.
So.
But I believe that the automatic Z06 was like 2.7 seconds to 60. Manual, you're not going to be able to get that because that perfect launch is like almost impossible. But, so, there's another example. Was a dual clutch really necessary? No, I don't think so.
Should have an option.
Yeah, the old torque converter 8-speed seemed to be working just fine. We got anything else here? Bulletin points?
I guess not. I don't know. We could bitch about it all day, but let's face it, I wasn't going to buy one anyway, so I'm not really their market.
Yeah, so we could bitch about GM and the shit they've been doing in the last 5 years all day. It's kind of ridiculous. They're shooting their own selves in the foot. And the GM has built a brand and a cult following, and they've just been saying F you to everybody. It's kind of like what NASCAR has been doing for like the last 10 years. They had a cult following of people who enjoyed watching it, and they just you know, they came out the carb tomorrow and ruined it. So, GM, if you ever watch this video, stop doing what you're doing and fire like 90% of your design team because they suck. Give us a two-door Tahoe. Quit making the Tahoe and everything so freaking ugly.
Put a solid rear end under the Camaro.
There you go. That's what they, you know, they
with leaf springs.
Yeah.
And factory traction.
Well,
bars.
hold on. 2023, the Camaro's not
yeah, whatever.
You know, allegedly they stopped development of the 7th gen Camaro.
Put it out of its misery.
Yeah, they should have made the 7th gen. Should have took after the 2nd gen. There's a rendering online. I mean, there's a few things I would tweak, but keep that. But and then they could always have, you know, solid rear end on it, or they could put IRS. They could have it set up to do both.
They'll never go back to.
Yeah.
It's all pipe dreams.
Yeah, they put a solid rear end in, and people start driving them like Mustangs, and it goes straight into the wall or the crowd.
Mustang got IRS now.
Well, I'm talking about the old ones. There's not too many people that crash the new ones into a crowd. You usually see that with the older guys' styles, with the live rear end in still. But I guess that's all we have concerning the new C8 Corvette. To me, it's not a Corvette. It's its own thing, and I think that's what it should have been. Is its own thing, and they should have continued development with the C7 or made a front engine, you know, C8 that was updated. All right. Well, camera stopped recording. That's pretty much all we got for you guys. But C8 Corvette, was it a disappointment? Yes and no. That's
disappointment. I knew it was coming. It was still like.
We looked at the car and like, man, that don't look terrible. But at the same time, it's like, man, that's not a Corvette. So, anyway, for now, that's all we got for you. We'll see you later on. Please take time to subscribe. I've been getting more subscribers. We're up to 50 subs now. The views have been up. The watch time and everything's been up. You guys have absolutely been killing it. So, please continue to do that. You got anything else there, Garrett?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yep.
Yep.
Like, comment, and share. And then if you could hit the little bell next to the sign, that really freaking helps us out, dude. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the bell. Tell me to go F myself, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I don't hesitate to tell him to F himself.
Every day. Alright. You guys take it easy.